In the modern global society, dozens of countries engage in specialization and openly trade with other states for the things they need. The world is filled with people who have too much of one thing and not enough of another. Throughout most of human history, conflicts between the various powers and city-states were solved through traditional hard power tactics, such as the application of military power. This strategy has evolved in the same manner as human society, and the conflict resolution method of the contemporary country has begun to focus on soft power economic warfare through the use of economic sanctions and trade embargoes to weaken the economy and destabilize political structures in an effort to force weaker countries to the negotiation tables in a weaker bargaining position. These methods are at times more costly than traditional power, though they are often just as effective and pose far less risk to human life. During a trade embargo, one state makes it illegal to trade or conduct other commercial activity within a particular country, group of countries, or specific companies located within a given geographic area. The trade embargo imposed by America on Cuba and Russia are why Americans can't catch a flight to Havana or purchase Russian vodka. When properly placed, as in the case of the Russian embargo, it forces the other side back into the negotiating table under immense economic pressure. However, when the trade embargoes are used improperly, they end up hurting the people you are trying to protect. This is the case within the European Union's embargo on the companies located in the occupied region of the West Bank. An article from the Israeli newspaper Haaretz reported that the 28 nations that make up the EU are no longer allowed to contribute financially to or cooperate in any way with organizations that are headquartered beyond the historic green line that divides the West Bank from the rest of Israel. This is an example of how embargoes in theory place economic pressure on a country to force it back to negotiations, but in practice can do far more harm than good. Many of the companies that are located beyond the Green Line provide much-needed jobs in the Palestinian economy. They provide stability and opportunity for the people that the EU is trying to protect. By enacting this embargo, the European Union has forced several factories to relocate production facilities from the West Bank to areas within Israel's traditional borders. During a recent tour of the Extal factory located in the West Bank, the factory manager stated that Israeli factories were required by law to pay their workers the same benefits and minimum wage as all other Israelis, rather than the Palestinian minimum wage, which is less than half that amount. The EU embargo has nearly no effect on the economy of Israel, nor does it substantially impact the Israelis who have settled in the West Bank. There is no hope of this economic sanction forcing Israel to any negotiating table, and the only ones who suffer are the hundreds of Palestinians who have lost their jobs because of the irresponsibility of the EU bureaucrats. While it is true that trade embargoes are highly effective tools for conflict resolution between states, they must be used properly, or the only ones that get hurt are the people.